Howdy ho there, my lovies. Welcome back to Crazy But Not Dangerous. And we've got all kinds of kitchen happenings today. I'm cleaning out my freezer here in the kitchen. Now, I have a confession to make. I am really good at keeping my big freezers organized and stocked, and I can find things in there. There's an inventory list. There's all those good things. But my refrigerator freezer, the one here in the kitchen, that's like a catch-all. It's terrible. It's in terrible shape. And if I have a little bit of something and I'm not sure what to do with it, or, you know, some of this or some of that, tidbits, I just throw it in there. Just cram jam. And then I have no freezer room and I wonder why. Yeah, so we're going to be doing some stuff with all of my tidbits, the this, that, and the others. Just moving them on along, doing something with them. We're going to be doing some dehydrating. I'm going to be making a stock. And we're going to be making some food for Pigpen. And also for us humans too. Yeah, we still count. I mean, he might be, you know, our primary focus for the most part. But, you know, we're still going to get some yums in for us. Before we get down to all the things, yay, hooray, I need to send out a great big birthday wish to my friend, my lovey Amber. Happy birthday, Amber. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great year. Big old smoocheroonies and a great big squeezy hug too. Happy birthday. So I went to my freezer and I grabbed a few things for this week. So I'm doing a little bit of meal prepping. So I shopped my freezers. I have a little bit of dark meat turkey here. That's going to be great this week in a recipe, so I'm taking that out to thaw. I also have a pork shoulder blade steak that I got 30% off of $5.55. So this was a bargain. It's going to be super tasty. Not only because it was affordable, but because a blade steak is a great cut, especially for doing a braise. And that's what we're going to do this week with that. I also took out a 2.5 pound, it's nice and flat. It's for meatloaf. So this is half ground pork, half ground beef, and it's already pre-portioned for a 2-pound meatloaf. And we're going to do some fun things with that. Make a terrific meatloaf. Yay, hooray. All right, this stuff is for stock. I also needed to take a little cheese out to thaw. Now, when I find cheese at a great price, my Lucerne brand, that's usually my go-to because that's usually the least expensive. I go ahead and freeze it. So I've got a part skim mozzarella. It's 32 ounces. And then I have an 8-ounce block of mild cheddar. And I love to combine the two. One, because the mild cheddar has a real great taste to it. And this mozzarella has a really great melting quality. So it's the best of both worlds. So I'm going to thaw these out. I'm going to throw them in my food processor for a quick zip, zip, zip. But yeah, I had to take them out so I could get my meal prep done, get my meal planning taken care of, let these thaw out. I'm going to get these meats in the refrigerator to safely thaw because that's the best way, in the refrigerator. But giving myself a couple of days before I need them to make sure that they're thawed all the way and I don't have to scramble at the last minute, you know, in the microwave or what have you, in the sink with the quick thaw method of running water. That's just a waste of water. A little bit of pre-planning and I will be in like Flynn. Yay, hooray. Plus, it's chilly here today. High only about 50 degrees. So I'm going to get some things going to warm this house up. Come along with me and let's have some fun in the kitchen, getting a bunch of little projects done, getting my poor freezer cleaned out so that, yeah, I can stock it back up. Yay, hooray. I'm going to start off, well, first let me show you my pile. This is all the stuff that I pulled out of my freezer. A little tiny bit of spinach. That's not almost enough to do anything with. 1 bag of mushrooms, 2 bags of mushrooms, 3 bags of mushrooms, 4, and an entire package. So I've got lots of mushrooms. Tons, buckets. But yet I continue to buy more because I never look in that little freezer. because it's a nightmare. You open it up and things are falling out. It is my shame, I will admit it. So we're going to see those mushrooms for in a minute. What I'm going to get started with is a nice vegetable stock. You can make chicken stock, you can make turkey stock, you can make beef, pork, ham. The list goes on and on. But vegetable stock is very versatile for, meat eaters, carnivores, and also vegans and vegetarians. You've got a little bit of veg, you haven't gone through it, you're worried that it's going to go on the outs. Yeah, just go ahead, pop it in a little bag, get yourself a mess going on in your freezer like I do mine, and then when you've got enough, let's go ahead and make a delicious stock. So that was about 6 ounces of carrots. And then I have this little bag, I don't know why, but it's got some onion and what looks like some tomato. I'm okay with that. I'm going to put that in there too. I've got a big bag and it has everything in it from onion skins. Yes, you can even use onion skins to make your stock because we're going to strain it. It's got some cabbage in there. Yeah, just debris. Stuff most people would throw away, but I have saved in this bag for a day like today. We're just going to load this puppy up. And then I've got a little bit more of celery, carrots, and onion. And this is all things that probably would have had to be thrown away over the last, 4 to 6 months had I not saved them for this, chili day and to make stock. So this is relatively free. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and cover this. This crock pot typically holds about 8 cups of water, and I'm going to go ahead and cover this. I am going to set it off to the side, and I'm going to let this go for 24 full hours on low with the lid on to get a good vegetable concentrated flavor without having a lot of reduction in the water. It will have almost no reduction in water because when you cook with the crock pot with the lid on, there's nowhere for that to escape to. So the amount of water you start off with is pretty much the amount of liquid that you are going to end up with too, whether you're making stock or anything else. All right, well, I'm going to throw this one away and I'm going to wash these bags out for miscellaneous things. Andrew can always use them in his shop if nothing else. They didn't really have potentially hazard foods in them, so I think it's okay for around the house kind of use. Here we go. That's about 6 cups. And we can get just a little bit more in there. There we go, about 8 cups of water. Just gonna go ahead and turn this to low and get this baby going. Yay, great. Now what are you gonna do with your veg stock? On Monday, I'll go ahead and show you how I strain my veg stock and the jars that I put it in. And then, we've made some room in the freezer. So now I've got somewhere to put, my vegetable stock. Yay, hooray. And then, we're also going to get the food dehydrator out and dehydrate some things. And on Monday, I will also have a big reveal of our dehydrated items. So yeah, stay tuned for Monday for the big reveal. Yay, hooray. This is my Nesco food dehydrator. And I really got into dehydrating foods in 2020 when we had so much surplus produce from the food bank that I didn't want to go to waste. And I was in similar shape. I didn't really have a whole lot of room in my freezer, and we didn't have the 2 big freezers at that time. So yeah, we were limited on space, but I hate waste. And we're having eggs with spinach, we're having eggs with greens, we're trying to go through it as much as possible, and even then I couldn't keep up. So this is a very basic model. This actually cost me like $79 in 2020, and it is a food and jerky dehydrator from Nesco. and it has a gauge here on the front. So you just turn the knob to whatever it is pretty much that you're dehydrating. So like herbs are at 95 degrees, nuts and seeds 105, fruits and vegetables, that's the one I use the most, at 135 degrees. You can also do jerky, meats, and fish at higher temperatures up to 160 degrees. So it's basically like a big hair dryer. And then these are the racks that you fill with your goodies to dehydrate. I have blue tape on mine because as I walk by it, I will just go ahead and give it a rotate so that we're always, dehydrating, that everything is getting the same amount of heat. This actually is very good product, very reliable, and heats pretty thoroughly. And I don't have to do this rotation process. I will also halfway through dehydrating take the bottom items and move them to the top, and then move the top ones down, just so that everything is getting the very best dehydrating that it can get. So I have the longest shelf life. Now, why to dehydrate? To save room in the freezer. It also saves money, because if I've got something in the freezer, I'm spending money to keep it cool through my electric bill. And honestly, for me, produce really is not worth the money that I spend in my electric bill, because our utility costs are very high here. So for me, canned vegetables, something that's shelf stable, is a much better bargain overall throughout the year than something that I spend money on to keep frozen. I should remember this and not just shove all my little bits in there. But I hate to waste, and to me, wasting is also losing money. So I've either got to stop putting my little bits into the freezer, or be a better steward of my little bits and make those stocks. And I can use those stocks to make rice, potatoes, pasta dishes. Sometimes, instead of adding water, you can add just that little bit of stock. Soups, stews, you name it. If your recipe requires water, you can usually always substitute some kind of stock instead to add a depth of flavor, a little extra something, that extra special love, Anyhow, let's get on with the dehydrating. So I have all these little bits of mushroom. Mushroom is one of the easiest things to dehydrate. Now these are straight from my freezer. I'm not thawing them out. I'm not worried about it. They're all going to dehydrate beautifully. And you just don't want them too clumped up together. They need just a little bit of breathing room. Not a lot, but some. And the great thing about this Nesco dehydrator is that these trays can be purchased separately from the unit, and you can stack this as high as you want. For me, I just have the basic model. I don't have any additional trays. This is really as tall as I personally want it, but if I was a little bit taller, yes please and thank you, I might get myself some more trays. If you are dehydrating something that is very aromatic, like onions or garlic or something very pungent, you are definitely going to want to dehydrate outside, on a patio, maybe in your garage. Yeah, so one of the first things that I ever dehydrated was onion, because I had gotten like a 30-pound enormous bag of onion, and we just couldn't go through that many at one time, and they were going to go wonky. So I decided to dehydrate them, and I put it out on my back patio, and it was all 5 trays just absolutely loaded with onion. I put that out on my back patio. I turned that sucker on, and then I'm going about my business around the house, just doing my thing. And I go out to the mailbox to check the mail, and my neighbor's out there, and she's looking at me, and she's waiting. And I know that look. I'm always in trouble with my neighbors. They think I'm crazy. Anyhow, I'm always in trouble with my neighbors. She's giving me this look. Hi, how are you today? Are you okay? Yeah, baby, I'm fine. Are you all right? Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Is Andrew okay? Everybody's fine over at my house. Is everybody fine? What is that smell? Now, we don't have, these are big lots, and we're not right on top of each other. There's plenty of room. Like, there is this smell coming from your house, and it smells like urine and mold and body odor. Yeah, your house smells terrible today. Now, I'm laughing because I know it's the onions, because ooh, that's powerful. You can smell it. Anyhow, yeah, I told her that I was dehydrating onions. She thought I had flipped. You know, they all think I'm nuts. I'm okay with that. I've heard that for years. That doesn't even faze me anymore. Anyhow, yeah, so if you're don't do it inside, because you will not be able to stay there. You will be running to the nearest, Holiday Inn to check in for a couple of days until your house airs out, baby. It is not good. It is very pungent. So, yeah, you just want them to lay as flat as possible. Mine have a little ice on them, but I'm not worried about it because that heat and that air is going to go ahead and defrost these, and it will add a little bit of time to my dehydration process because of the added moisture. But I'm not that concerned about it because, yeah, I'm not doing my big reveal until Monday, and that will be plenty of time. So I will be doing all veg today. So we've got our mushrooms all set right here. And there we go. Sometimes they fall through the cracks. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. I am going to grab one of these mats. I've got one of these mats, and this is just like a silicone mat. It prevents smaller items from falling through. I have this little bit of spinach. It's not a whole lot, but I'm going to make some room in my refrigerator, and I'm also going to be making some green powder. So I am going to take this chopped spinach, still frozen. If you had fresh spinach, like it was springtime or summertime or whenever your spinach crop comes up, yeah, you could just do this with the fresh. That's just fine. Frozen works fine. It will all be okay. And then you just go ahead and gather that right around the center, and you can spread that out, and you can get as fussy as you want to with this. I'm just not that worried about it, but I think that looks lovely. Greens are so easy to dehydrate because they don't require any special anything. You don't have to soak them in lemon. You don't have to blanch them first. Basically, you can just even take a brand new bag of spinach that I got over at my Albertsons, and you can just lay it right out on your trays. And again, you don't want it bunched up too much. Just here and there. And yeah, tuck it all in. Leave room in the middle. You don't want to cover up the hole because you want good aeration. But there you go. Yep. And so we will just go ahead and do another tray with some more spinach with the rest of that bag. And then we'll take the frozen spinach and this fresh spinach, and we'll dehydrate them and then give them a zip, zip, zip in my food processor. And make some green powder. And that way we have a source of good greens all year round. That's shelf stable, that requires nothing from us except from the occasional shake, shake, shake as you go by in the spice rack once in a while. All right, I'm going to get the rest of my trays loaded up here, and then we're going to get this set over by the crock pot out of the way, and we'll get on with everything else. Yeah, right, I'm super excited. Alright, on goes the lid, and I'm going to turn it to 135 degrees. We've got the spinach and the mushrooms in here. They can dehydrate together. Because they're both somewhat mild smelling, I'm going to do these inside the house because I don't mind the smell of cooked mushrooms or the spinach. Going to do those in the house. This will let off moderate heat, but this actually uses very little energy in the dehydration process and works quite efficiently. Those greens may be done as early as 12 hours from now. I'm going to check them. How do you know if your items are done? Well, your greens, whether it's lettuce, romaine, endive, spinach, collards, what have you, they're going to feel like leaves that fell off of a tree, and they're dry and crispy. And then you know that you're done. They will be somewhat paler in color than they went in, and that's just fine. They're still going to be a great green, just slightly paler but crispy. Those mushrooms are going to take longer because they're wetter, and you will know that they are done also because when you snap it in half, it's going to have a great snap, and you will know that your mushrooms are done. They are one of the easiest and one of the best things to dry because dry mushrooms over at my store are so expensive, but I like to have them on hand in case I run out of fresh. I can always go to the pantry, grab a handful of those, and then add some hot water, let those set for about 30 minutes. For me, the ratio of rehydrating is 25% dry product, 75%. So, you know, a 3-to-1 kind of ratio. Whether you're reheating in stock or water, you know, just make sure that that's good and hot. Give it 30 minutes or so to rehydrate. More water is better than less water. And yeah, they will rehydrate beautifully. Or you don't even have to bother to rehydrate these at all if you were going to go ahead and put them in something that's already wet, like a nice soup or something like that. Plenty of moisture in there. Rehydrates like nobody's business. So last week I purchased about 6 pounds of bone-in chicken thighs, 99 cents a pound. Those were a great price. I removed all of the skin and the fat from those chicken thighs and put those into my freezer, knowing this week that we were going to do a big clean out. So I've got the skin and the fat from those chicken thighs right here. I also have a Dutch oven, and this has a porcelain inside, so it is a non-reactive pan. And I am going to make some schmaltz. What's schmaltz? Well, schmaltz is basically rendered chicken fat. Yep, absolutely. How do you use it? Just like you would bacon fat. So you can use it as an alternate, you know, oil source for cooking. You can use it for very flavorful frying. It's delicious. It doesn't have quite the smoking point of canola oil or vegetable oil, but yeah, it will be absolutely fantastic. And I have a very special purpose for some of the schmaltz. I'm going to be making some oven roasted potatoes next week as one of our side dishes. I'm going to use the rendered chicken fat, you know, to that's going to be my fat for those potatoes, for those yellow potatoes. And I think that that is just going to be absolutely fantastic. So very simply, in a non-reactive pan, I'm going to turn this on like a 3.5 because I want this to go very slowly. I want this to render quite nicely. And any parts of the chicken fat that you have, you just want to make sure that you're getting, you know, you're separating the actual meaty portion from the fat. can go ahead and put that in there on a very low temperature and let that fat just render out. Now, the skin and what have you is going to crisp up beautifully. Andrew is going to probably want some of that skin. I'm probably going to let him because, you know, he gives me those big brown eyes. And yeah, you can have a few, but not very many. So it's a really nice fat and really tastes delicious when we cook. Now, I bought boneless, skinless chicken breast this week at 97 cents per pound. And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to boil that all up. Some of it is going to be for chicken, for pig pen, and some of that chicken is I'm going to shred it all. So we're going to have quick, easy, shredded chicken in the freezer for us and also for pig pen as his little yummy delight and our little yummy delight. So if I'm making enchiladas or if I'm making a real quick chicken salad, I can just pop that out of the freezer and just go to town. Not going to worry about it one bit. But if these have any fats on them, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off and put it into my Schmaltz pot. Yep. And these are big. These are big old honkin' chicken breasts. They are enormous. So, let's see how we're doing on fat. I'm also going to check them for bones. And just trim these up a little bit. You know. Can we use all parts of the bird? Absolutely we can. Yes, yes, please, and thank you. We're on a no waste mission. Yeah, like the Blues Brothers, we're kind of on a mission from God a little bit. Yeah, okay, got this all cleaned up here. Put those fats in there. Get this little bit over here. And I'm going to just cut this breast up a little bit for just the, you know, the ease of boiling so that it doesn't have to boil like this whole 2.5 pounds all at one time. I have plenty of chicken breast fillets in the refrigerator and in the freezer, so I don't really need any more fillets, but I did need some quick, easy shredded chicken because sometimes you're just not feeling it. And my friend Carol, Plain Vanilla Grandma, she told me that this is what she does with her discount chicken. So, yeah, absolutely. Just going to boil that all up. And there we go. Get all the little pieces in there. Get all my little fats. I've got some more. Oh my Lord. Look at that. That's like, I don't know what kind of a chicken that came off of, but it also looks like it was training day over at the butcher shop. Yeah, they just butchered this all to Hades. So this is actually a great way to use a chicken parts that just don't look that great. Now I could trim this all up and probably slice this into fillets. That would look much better, but you know, I'm just going with the shredded chicken. And that's probably why they were on discount. Why they were 97 cents. Because it looked like, you know, serial killer got to them first. Anyhow, let me go ahead and get these all chopped up and get my schmaltz going. Now, if you wanted to make a lot of schmaltz and you did not have enough of the skin and what have you from thighs. Thighs have the most fat on them and therefore will make the best and the most schmaltz. You can go to your butcher and ask them if they have any chicken skin or chicken fat trimmings. A lot of times they will give them to you. My Albertsons across the street, well, their butcher doesn't really do much on site. And they don't usually have any trimmings for me. But if you have like a regular butcher that you see, yeah, you can ask them for the trimmings and see if they have anything for you so that you can make your schmaltz extra. You can have extra. This is probably going to render out about 1.5 cups of that chicken fat, and that's going to be plenty for what I have in store for it, but a great way to use every bit of the chicken, including the fat. So I'm going to go ahead and get this chicken boiling, get this fat rendering, and we have almost concluded our around the kitchen happenings today. Yay, hooray. Bring it back and I'll show you what they look like. The chicken is coming to a simmer. Gonna let that come to a boil. Get those chicken pieces, that boneless, skinless chicken breast, all cooked up to a safe temperature of 165. My fats are rendering for my chicken schmaltz. Yay, hooray. I've got my veg stock going. I've got the dehydrator going. We've just got all the things going. Now I wiped off my countertop with a little soap and bleach on a little rag because I was working with raw chicken and I don't want any cooties. Yeah, nobody wants salmonella, E. coli, Ebola, whatever. I also have some 7th generation disinfectant spray, and I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little once over with that for good measure. I like this because it does not dry with any kind of residue, and it kills 99% of germs and bacteria. This is not sponsored, just, a little public service announcement. Plus, it's cold flu season. Yeah, those are no good. Oh, and just to let you know, I took my COVID test and I came back negative. So I am happy camper there. Yay, hooray. Hey, stay safe, stay well, do what you have to do. Plenty of hot water. Got all those dishes washed up. Oh, I washed out all of the bags. So I washed out all of the bags. None of them had potentially dangerous substance in them. No raw meats or anything like that. I washed them all very thoroughly, and then I hung them out in the garage. I have a retractable laundry line. That's where I dry things. And anyhow, I'm drying those all out there. Andrew came in. Ooh, are those my bags? I could use some bags out in the shop. Yeah, baby, you can have them all. Absolutely. He gave me the eyes, those deep brown eyes that I can't say no to. Anyhow, getting all the things going around here. Andrew loves it. Andrew loves it when I have big project days in the kitchen. He loves how the house smells. He said it smelled like I was making wild rice and mushroom soup today with chicken. Well, pretty close, but that's not what's for dinner. What's for dinner? Frozen pizza. Because I got too many things going on. The only thing that's not working right now is the oven. And that's, I'm going to make frozen pizza in there. That cauliflower crust pizza, that's what's for dinner. Anyhow, just got all the projects going on. I love it. He loves it. Baby sister is not accustomed to this. She comes out here, she's, what are you cooking? And I tell her, she's like, why would you do all that? Because I want stuff to cook. Because we need some stuff, we need some schmaltz. That's a free fat. That's stuff that you would throw away. Why throw it away when you could get something for free? Some scrap veg. Yeah, all the things. Saving some money. Gonna have delicious dinners with all of these little bits. All the little bits. You get them all together, you do something with them, save some money, make something terrific. So for my schmaltz, what I'm going to do when this finishes rendering, I have a jelly jar here, just a regular mason jelly jar. I also have a canning lid. I'm going to set that right in there on top of it. And then I have a fine mesh strainer that fits right inside of there. I'm going to put a little paper towel. That's going to catch all of my solids because I only want the great chicken fat in here for, my roasted potatoes and whatever else I decide. So this is my getup. If I was making more, I would use a bigger receptacle, my large mesh strainer, and a different kind of a funnel. So, yep, for a small batch, I'm going to go ahead and double that over. That makes more sense. There we go. Now it fits better. That's going to catch everything. It's going to drip through, and it's not going to go all over the place. I probably will put a plate underneath of here just in case, you know, I have an accident or a little spill or something like that, because it's easier to wash that plate than it is to wash all of this. Yeah, right. My chicken has boiled, and I have my KitchenAid mix bowl here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my cooked chicken. I did take an internal temperature, and we are at about 170 degrees, so I know that this will be perfectly safe for both our consumption and pig pen. Got to worry about the little dude too. Safety first. And so I will take out all of this boneless, skinless chicken breast. I'm going to set it down here on the counter because that's about 6 pounds worth, and that's a little bit heavy. And put this all in here. Make sure I'm getting all the little bits. Every bit counts. There we go. And this chicken broth is going to be really good and flavorful. Now, I do not salt any of my stocks because I will add the appropriate amount of salt to whatever it is that I'm going to be using them in, and just, I don't salt them. If you want to salt yours, baby, let me tell you that my ratio typically is 1 teaspoon of salt for every 1 cup of water. So this was about 8 cups. I would use about 8 teaspoons. But then you need to also be very careful when you're using these broths and stocks, when you're seasoning your dish, that you don't get it over salted. So for me, it's just a no-brainer. I just know that none of my stocks are going to be salted, and that they're going to need some seasoning when I'm putting my dish together. All right, I'm going to take this over to the KitchenAid, and ooh, Nelly, that's hot. It's like a little facial. Now I'm over at my sink, and I get this little contraption together. So I've got a stainless steel bowl. I'll put that down in my sink. I have my large measuring cup that has the spigot, the spout at the side that's going to allow for easy pouring. I have a colander with some paper towel, and yeah, that's how I'm going to strain off my my chicken broth, because it has some solids in there. It has a little bit of, for lack of a better word, like chicken scum on the top. I don't really want that in my chicken broth. I want it to be very chicken flavored, very delicious. But yeah, I'll leave all the other stuff behind. And here we go. See, that's kind of, yeah, it's got some floaties in there and some chicken solids. Anyhow, pouring away from me, I am going to go ahead and just pour that right in there. Most of it will be going right into the bowl at the bottom, that measure, the large measure. And then if there's any that spills out, because you know I want every bit, I'm just selfish that way. It'll get caught in the stainless steel bowl at the bottom. That way we're not losing any. And then we've got some miscellaneous chicken portions here at the bottom. Now those are still delicious. I'm going to let Pigpen have those. He's going to think he's an extra special boy. He is. Let that all drain. There we go. No mess, no muss, no fuss. If I had a spill, well, it'd just go down the drain. I'd be sad to lose it. But, you know, we didn't get burned. We safety first. You could let this cool off a little bit. But, you know, I'm going to do my dishes up, get everything done. So this is piping hot and to the top. I'm just going to let this cool off a little bit, get my jars all sterilized for it, and yeah, get it all ready so we can cool it rapidly and then get that all frozen. On another date, we might go over how to can chicken stock. I don't really like to show canning on my channel. I enjoy canning, but I think it is a very detailed process, and I would refer you to your Ball Blue book, and that is where you are going to get the very best information, because canning can be tricky, and I want you to be safe. I know what works for me. I use all approved methods from Food and Drug Administration, from Department of Agriculture, from my local extension office, but I want everyone to be safe and for you to have the very best information from your local extension office, because everywhere is different, and all canning techniques, yeah, I see some rebel canners on here and I think, oh baby, I'm glad that works for you, but boy, oh boy, I wouldn't want to give you any wrong information, any bad information. So check with your local extension office. They've got all the best information. The Ball Blue book, all approved methods. That's where you're going to find your very best canning advice. I am just packaging up my shredded chicken, getting that all ready for the freezer. So to help it cool down, I did submerge my KitchenAid bowl into this stainless steel bowl full of ice so I could rapidly cool this, so I could get this bagged up, because I wanted to reduce the temperature as quickly as possible so I could get it out of the danger zone and into my freezer. I didn't want to fill these plastic bags with a lot of hot chicken. I didn't want my bag to melt. I don't, keep the plastics cool. I think that's just a good policy. Anyhow, I have filled these bags with about 12 ounces each of chicken. This one's going to be a little bit light because we're down to the dregs, but I have gotten several good bags of chicken, and I also got my chicken broth poured off into little jars. Even like if Pigpen's a really good boy and I want to give him a special treat, I might pop open one of those jars of broth and even just pour that over his dry dog food. And I do like to pack my freezer with those jars of broth, because in the event that I lose power, those frozen little bits all scattered throughout my freezer, those frozen bits of broth in those jars will help keep everything else, all of my expensive meats that I want to save, will help keep them cool, so long as I keep the lid shut, not in there peeking all the time. So that is always my strategy, is to have a little bit of stock layered in between all of my yum-yums in the freezer. So, in the event of a power outage that lasts, longer than a few hours, that I don't lose anything. Now I have removed my chicken fat solids, and they are crispy and delicious. Like I said, Andrew, he might want a couple of those. It's kind of like a chicharron, except chicken, and he will just love that. So I've removed as much from the pot as I can. There are a few bits that are stuck on there, and I have just kind of let this reduce, this hot chicken fat, just kind of let it reduce in temperature, for safer handling. And we've got our gut up here. I'm going to turn the handle away from me so that nothing gets all, stuck together. I don't want an injury or an accident. You let this cool as much as you possibly can without solidifying. And so I am going to very carefully pour the semi-hot chicken fat right over there, right over my strainer set up, and I want to get every bit, and that paper towel will catch any solids that I may have. And I want all that I can get. Like I said, we're going to get about a cup, maybe a little bit more. Of course, the more chicken skins, chicken thighs, chicken fats that you have, the more that you will get out of it. And this is a very economical oil to cook with. Also a very flavorful oil to cook with out of things that we may have thrown away. Can't beat that with a stick, because cooking oils are very, very expensive. And yeah, I don't see that getting any cheaper. So if we can save a little fat from our chicken, that is great. Maybe you don't eat pork, but you like the idea of cooking with, a natural fat. Yeah, this is a great alternative to a pork fat, to those bacon drippings. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to let that drain. And yeah, just be very careful. Let it cool a little bit, and then just very carefully pour that. You could do that over the sink too, if you're worried about a spill or what have you. Yep, but we've almost filled up our little jelly jar, mason jar, and we're going to have plenty of that Schmaltz for some delicious roasted potatoes and whatever else we think of. Just going to let that drip. Yay! Once that has come to room temperature, I just go ahead and put a little lid right on there, and I'm going to store mine in the refrigerator for the safest food handling. Now, my grandma stored her bacon fat drippings, her chicken fats, what have you, on the back of her stove, but I think for the safest keeping, and also because I don't want it to go rancid, the refrigerator is really the best place. And I will just use this as I need to in my cooking over, till it's all gone. I would say it will last 2 to 3 weeks in your refrigerator, if it lasts that long. Won't last that long in mine. Anyhow, little Schmaltz. Yay, hooray. Piggy's really excited about it. Aren't you, baby? He says, lady, it's time for pizza. Okay, so today we got several jars of the chicken broth made. So about 6 of those. I do different sizes because sometimes I just need 1 cup of chicken broth. Sometimes I might need 2. And I will freeze these. I have never had a problem freezing jars, but I never take it up past the shoulder. I leave plenty of room for expansion. So I will be putting those into my freezer, and I will just layer those in there. It's an extra little bit of insulation. In case we lose power, that's going to keep my freezer really cold, really frozen, and I think that's just okay with me. Also made some delicious chicken schmaltz, some rendered chicken fat, and I'm going to be using that in a recipe later this week. And for whatever else, got about 8 ounces of that. Had no waste on that chicken. Yay, hooray. And then I got about 6 bags of shredded chicken for the humans and for Pig Pen, and packaged these in 12 ounces. So yeah, gonna get those in the freezer. Glad I made some room for all my yum yums, and come back on Monday. And we're going to get the stuff out of the dehydrator and package that up, make a little green powder, and then we'll also go ahead and package our chicken stock for future use as well. All right, my lovies, be good, be careful, look both ways. Yay for big projects in the kitchen. I'm finally feeling well enough to be able to do some of these things, and fantastic. Yay, hooray. All right, big old smooches. And, big squeezies too. I'll see you next time. See you on Monday. Yay, hooray.